Hi there, hey there, ho there. We're as happy as can be. Another week,
You're alive.
another session of Three Ball Walk. Probably only a couple more shows left this year
Okay. All right.
because
Just because the season's over.
the World Series one game in, NLCS, ALCS over. Wanted to talk a little bit about that,
Yep.
and then we can talk about last night's game. Let's start with last night's game, and then come back with the past and
Okay.
whatever. I don't know. You got Sale going against Kershaw. Neither of them make it through 5,
Nope.
and it finishes 8-4. Is that the game you were expecting, Eddie?
Probably not that neither one of them would make it through the 5th or through the 4th, and neither would get an out in the 5th. No, I was not expecting that game. But the score, yeah, I did. I actually expected probably more than that. I think this is going to be a hitters series.
If the Los Angeles Dodgers are going to give the Boston Red Sox extra opportunities to hit, it's going to be a sweep.
That is my. The Red Sox scored a lot, but if you look at it, okay, first batter of the game, Mookie Betts fouls out, and you can't make the catch. He singles, steals second, okay. Benintendi singles to Puig, okay, with 1 out. Puig decides to airmail this thing. What do you do as a first baseman when you got a guy at second? You round the bag and you look, and then if the right fielder decides to throw it almost up into the stands, you're at second. The next guy, Devers, winds up getting a 2-out hit.
Yep.
And guess what? It's 2-0 and it literally should have been none, but any one of those two could have at least saved him the one. But
Were there 2 outs when they didn't make the play on Betts?
there was one out.
1 out then.
Okay, so then you can't say that then.
But they got a lot of 2-out hits. I mean,
No, it was a lot of 2-out hits.
ALCS too.
Two out hits wins games every day.
A lot of them.
Right.
No, every day. That's
No,
my
no, no.
that's my
last
say.
night they got a lot of
That's
them.
my say. If you ask
No,
anybody who goes to a
scoring more
softball
runs,
game with
or one run.
2-out
Wow.
hits wins games every day because you're going to score runs when you got 2 outs and you get 2-out hits. So it's just the way it works. Of course, more runs always wins.
What
games.
if you should have already have had 3 outs when you got that 2-out hit?
Well, then that becomes an unearned run if it was an error that should have done that. Which
No,
still
and
counts.
it's not. And that's one of the things, Bob, is that an error? And it was a hard catch running down. First of all, it's the second baseman's ball when it's down the right field line, not the first baseman trying to catch it over his head. I don't know where the second baseman was on that play.
Who was playing second base?
For the Dodgers, was it Taylor at the time? No, Taylor was in left field. Who was playing second for the Dodgers?
Who knows
Which
where
is-
Taylor
which is
plays?
the
He was
other-
all over the place.
Which is the other thing, and I tell you, Counsell exposed the Dodgers with the righty-lefty matchup by switching a pitcher after the first out. Yesterday, you sit there, you start Sale, then you bring in the righty, and all of a sudden the whole line, you have no bench.
No bench.
He had no bench after the 5th inning because all of a sudden he's made all the swaps and started and brought in Muncy and brought in Bellinger and brought in all the lefties. I don't get it. And I know Sale's tough.
Yes, he is.
but he wasn't that tough. He got knocked out in the
Bellinger, well,
fourth.
because they're batting all righties. But Bellinger is the MVP of the NLCS.
Right.
and you
He's
take
not-
him out.
And he's not playing.
And my question is, and we talked about this a little bit last night. We were watching the game. Was the first 5-6 innings to go by in about, it seemed like an hour, and the last 4 innings go by. It's like, I mean, it's just it
Good
takes
friend,
forever.
hopefully a new viewer here, Sean Bennett.
Yeah.
You know, Sean sat there and he got into baseball and I'm enjoying it, and he goes, "It's starting to drag now. It's too long," and he turned it off right before the home run.
Yeah.
But it's
I went to
interesting.
bed before the home run,
One
actually.
of the interesting
Yeah.
things with Sale, that I saw is the lefty righty versus lefties and versus righties, and why does Roberts wind up bringing an all righty lineup? Because, and I'm looking, they remember 2 things. One is batting average against. Okay? And the other was home runs. 11 home runs given up, all by right-handed
right.
hitters. No lefty has hit a home run.
And Matt Kemp
So
was
if you're banking on a home run, but he was a righty, Matt
Right.
Kemp was.
Right.
But no lefty was going to hit a home run off him. Why?
Because
there were no-
lefties don't face him.
There were no lefties in the lineup.
Right. They're not lineup.
But the one thing that is a constant, because you can't sit there and say, "Oh, the righties." Well, if 9 out of 9 batters against them are righties, lefties are never going to hit a home run off of them. But what is the constant? Batting average. And batting average against, do you remember?
It was
Righties hit 183
183
against
and
them,
170.
and 170. Bottom line is nobody's hitting off of them. But if you don't have, you got to put Bellinger in, but especially late in the game, you basically you have no strategy. You have no bench.
All right, but okay, so let's go. Let's think for a moment on the other side of that coin. So he's banking on the fact that the manager is not going to leave Sale in there against all those right-handed batters. That as soon as there's trouble, as soon as he gets into trouble,
He did.
he's going to end up going to a right-hander out of the pen,
Which is what he did.
which is what he did, right?
And okay.
All right, so then you start saying, okay, as a manager, who do we want to face? Do we want our lefties, which are hitting 170 against Sale, and our righties are hitting 190? Okay, none of us are going to hit him well. But how quickly can we get to the pin? Because we think we can hit their pin better than we think they can hit
Sure.
Sale.
And then all of a sudden,
Even if you don't have
no.
even
And
if you
then
go
all of a sudden, in
righty,
the seventh, you switch and bring in a lefty, and guess what? You got all the lefties in there, and you've got no righties on the bench to pinch hit. Games are won and lost in the seventh and eighth inning by matchups, and if you leave yourself with no possible matchups, which is what
okay,
Roberts did.
does a run in the seventh count twice?
No,
No.
Does a run in the eighth count 3 times?
no.
Does a run in the ninth count 4 times?
No.
So a run in the first counts as much as a run in the eighth.
Sure.
All right, so you can't say then that by that definition,
No.
you should always do matchups
no.
all the way,
So that, correct.
which is
You
what a
should
lot of
try to do matchups
which is
all
what
the
a
way.
lot of pitchers are,
should.
a lot of
Managers.
managers are trying to do now with the short starts.
Correct. But the problem is, if you do it with 1 or 2 guys, you at least leave yourself. But
Some
you want to
room.
know
I
something?
know. I agree with you. I
You
don't
want to
think you
know
should switch them
something?
all
I
over.
agree that each run only counts once. Okay, but you're banking on I better score in the first inning, and if I don't, I'm not going to score. And that one run that you could have scored in the eighth, now by bringing in an opportune
But you
time
don't
when-
know. You don't know the guy's going to get a hit. You don't know that you bring in a lefty versus
So
a righty.
let's not
and he's
even
gonna
have a
get hit.
bench then.
Well, I'm just saying you don't know that. You pull
No,
the trigger.
there, I agree with you. It's all worth one, but it's really hard to score runs at the end when it becomes more. Now the manager is playing for that matchup. Now the manager is bringing in the lefty, and you counter it by bringing in a righty.
But
off
at
the
some
bench,
point-
but you don't have any pinch hitters.
But at
left.
some point, it's still. Do you think my righty can hit your lefty?
And Roberts paralyzed himself completely. I mean, the fifth.
That's
My
what-
feeling is
If it goes into extras, he's dead.
if it goes
he was
into
down
the
to the
6th
fifth.
inning or 7th inning or
He was
8th
done.
inning, he's dead.
But my feeling is,
That's it.
why isn't he putting his best team on the field, not trying to play?
Well,
on,
I can
mean,
see all of a
that's
sudden,
my thing.
hey,
Bellinger
you
should
don't
be
you
in
don't
there.
start Muncy or you don't start Bellinger, but
Bellinger should be
taking them all out.
I don't agree with it.
And
Just
here
when
was the
you
interesting
don't
thing.
when you don't have a rally going, that's the thing. You know, if you get a couple of guys on, then you're like, okay,
Did
now,
you hear
now
that
maybe we
stat?
can use one.
First time in Major League history with a starting lineup without a single left-handed
Yeah, first
hitter.
time ever. Yeah.
First time ever. Never
in the
happened
World Series.
In the World Series,
in the World
Yeah,
Series.
first time ever.
First time ever. All righty, nine
nine batters,
yeah.
right-handed.
And I didn't realize this Kershaw is bats righty.
Kershaw
Oh no,
wasn't
they
batting.
were in.
No,
They were in
they
American
were- they were in Boston.
That's right. I mean, it was nine. It was 9 guys. All righty. Never happened before.
And why? And you see, my thing is, why would you do that? Period. Ever at any point in any game? Because at some
Look what
point,
Council did to him. One batter in.
yeah, and then you switch them.
And now all of a sudden you burn. And what did he do? He countered
He burned all his people
in the second and third inning.
because obviously he believes that this matchup early on is going to be better. And then you force them. Okay, if you do that, then you say, okay, then now we're forcing them to make a decision. Are they going to bring in a lefty, another lefty now, or another righty? Are they going to flip
But
it?
basically, he has. I remember something Jim Leland said one time is sometimes the best move is not making a move.
Absolutely.
That's good.
He knows how you're going to counter. I went in. He goes, look, Eisenreich is batting. I remember. I always used to have my little sheet, and I could tell who Jim was going to pinch hit and everything like that. It was because he played it by the book. And I said it was really interesting. Eisenreich's hitting 420 against that guy. Why didn't you bring him in? He goes, because Eisenreich never would have faced him. Because I bring in Eisenreich, he brings in so-and-so out of the bullpen, and now look what Eisenreich's batting against him. I go, 185. He goes, that's the matchup. So I would rather have Eisenreich face, I would rather not have Eisenreich facing him than the guy, And
guy
the
who's
best
facing
move is
it,
not
right.
the best move is not to make any move, because then you're playing what Roberts is doing, whether it was Craig Counsell or whether it was Alex Cora, 2000 Los Angeles Dodgers, by the way, according to Jaime Jarrín, you know, and they were. They get the upper hand. They determine who the matchups are going to be, because Roberts can't counter.
Right. I agree.
I-
I don't think you ever should switch out a whole lineup left and right. I think you got to have some guys that can hit both ways. And I think it's a slap in the face to major league batters to say you can't hit a left-hander if you're a lefty, or you can't hit a right-hander. You might be less than that, but my guess is
But the whole point,
it's not 400 points.
If Sale is 170 against lefties and 250 against righties, but 170, 183, that tells me that nobody hits him.
Nobody's hitting him hard anyway. For me, you got all these right-handed hitters, but you got the pesky pole down there too. And it's not like it's this cavern in right field that a left-handed batter, if he turns on one, is not going
And
to
he
get it out of
started
there.
leaving that slider up, and all of a sudden it.
And I think that's what you got to look at is what is he going to do the rest of the way as he's going on. So I guess we're talking about this one, this series leading in. Zach Allen, who was a guest a few weeks ago, was in earlier, and he said this today. He said, "Here's my prediction." He said, "If Price doesn't go 5 2/3, then the Red Sox lose the series." He said, "But if Price goes 5 2/3 and they win the game tonight, the Red Sox sweep."
It's interesting because something you were looking, and we were talking about the over-under with the Brewers and everything like that. Remember?
Yeah.
In all the ALCS and NLCS, what was it, 7 games and 5 games? 12 games. That is 24 starting pitchers. The average of the 24 starters in the NLCS, 4 2/3 innings.
Yeah, I started saying nobody.
So it wasn't
nobody
just
made
the
it to
Brewers.
the 5.
It wasn't just the Brewers.
No, that's the way it is
Some
these
guys
days.
made it to,
I mean,
Bueller made it to.
You
but
think about last night, okay? How many runs did Sale give up before he was yanked?
3.
And how many runs did
he had given up 2. And
he given
one
up
came
2?
in after.
Yeah, and he gave up the inherited
Yeah.
runner scored. And how many
walked the-
How
he
many
walked
did
the
Kershaw give up?
He didn't get credit for 4, I think.
5.
Yeah,
5.
but he had only given up 3
He
and
only
left
given
with
up
2 on
He
base.
left with 2 on base, right?
They both scored.
And they both scored.
both
So
inherited runners scored.
5 scored. How many other years would they still have been in the game
Oh,
at only 2 and 3 until they gave up that
without
other
a
hit?
doubt.
Now, if they'd have
And
given up
Sale
the,
was only at 91.
if they'd have given up the next run, the next big hit, then you're out.
And he struck out the dude on a 3-2 count. That pitch was a nice pitch, and the umpire called it ball 4,
Yeah.
and that was, and Cora yanked him.
Yep.
But
I think managers have gotten to the point where they've got a short hook on their starters because of these things. You're talking about matchups and getting people to turn the lineup over.
but why do you think that is? I mean, why has the game changed that way? Do you think?
well, and that's
The
why it starts
relievers can
drag.
throw 96.
Right, that's true.
If you got 7 people in your pen that can throw 96,
That's true.
why would you leave the starter out there?
Yeah,
Now, here's another one.
good point.
Your former Brave, Rookie of the Year.
Kimbrel.
The Stork.
Would you have brought him in? 8-4 game.
No.
No.
I mean, part of it is they haven't seen him.
But here's the deal too.
Why do you want to?
Here's the deal. There's a stat that came up in the American League series that after 2 days rest, he gives up an average of 2 more runs, 2 more hits, or whatever it was.
So he wanted to work.
He pitches
needed the
better. He
workload.
pitches better when he is slightly
I
tired.
always sit there and say, people that never saw me pitch, and I came in, faced them for the first time, they didn't hit me as hard.
Yeah. I don't know.
They still hit me.
Yeah, I only pitched a couple of times in college when we were getting
But they-
when we were getting crushed. But I didn't give up any runs. So, but I just got people out because they hit long fly balls and our guys could run them down. That's the only way I got them out.
But my point is, I think when you haven't seen someone, especially in an interleague thing, you save the dude until you really need him, and then he goes out and does what he did. But your stat's interesting as well.
Yeah, he pitches better on consecutive days or 2 days rest or less. When he gets to 3 days rest, he doesn't pitch well in that next time he
And they
comes
were
out.
off for 9 days or
Yeah,
7 days.
so he wanted to get
I'll
him
tell
work.
you the interesting thing, and we're
We got to go.
2:48.
Yeah, we're
out.
timeout.
We're done.
We're done. Part 2 coming
Part 2
up.
coming up.
Pardos.